Ladies and gentlemen, there is a difference, a powerful difference, between being kind and being convenient, between being warm and being weak, between being friendly and being forgotten. And today, I want to speak to those who give too much, explain too much, apologize too much, and show up too much, only to be overlooked, undervalued, and disrespected. Because here is the truth many people learn too late. People do not respect what is easily available. You see, when you are always there, always agreeing, always responding, always giving, people stop seeing your effort as generosity. They begin seeing it as entitlement. Your time becomes assumed. Your energy becomes consumed. Your presence becomes expected, not appreciated. This is not because people are cruel. It's because human nature assigns value to what has limits. When you give without boundaries, your kindness becomes invisible. Being too friendly often comes from a good place, a place of empathy, a place of wanting to belong, a place of wanting peace instead of conflict. But when friendliness is rooted in fear, fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being misunderstood, it stops being kindness and starts becoming self-abandonment. And the world responds accordingly. Respect is not built on how much you give. It is built on how well you honor yourself while giving. People watch how you treat your own time. They notice whether you protect your energy. They observe whether you speak up when something feels wrong. And here's something important: people will test you. Not because they want to hurt you, but because they want to know who you are. They will cross lines to see if you notice. They will make small disrespectful moves to see if you respond. And if you stay silent, smile through it, or excuse it, you have just taught them a lesson. The lesson says, this is allowed. Strong people are not unkind. They are clear. They don't over-explain. They don't over-give. They don't chase acceptance. They understand that respect follows restraint. You do not need to be cold. You do not need to be rude. You do not need to change your heart. But you do need to change your availability. Your time is valuable. Your presence is powerful. Your energy is sacred. And when you stop handing it out without intention, people feel the shift. Some will step up. Some will step back. And that tells you everything you need to know. Confidence doesn't announce itself. It doesn't beg. It doesn't prove. It simply stands. So today, stop being overly friendly with people who haven't earned access to you. Stop confusing kindness with weakness. Stop giving unlimited access to limited connections. Because the moment you start valuing yourself, the world adjusts. And remember this, you don't lose respect by setting boundaries. You gain it. One of the most understood truths about human behavior is this: people do not respect what is too easily available. This does not mean you should become cold, rude, or distant. It means you must understand the difference between kindness and over-availability. Respect grows where value is protected, not where access is unlimited. Many people believe that being overly friendly, always agreeable, and constantly available will make others appreciate them more. They think that saying yes to everything, responding instantly, and putting everyone else first will earn love and loyalty. But the reality is often the opposite. When you make yourself endlessly accessible, people unconsciously begin to see your time, energy, and presence as less valuable. What is always available is often taken for granted. Availability without boundaries teaches people that your time has no cost. Your attention has no weight. Your presence requires no effort. And when something requires no effort, it rarely commands respect. Being too friendly often comes from a good place. It comes from a desire to be liked, accepted, and included. It comes from fear of rejection or conflict. It comes from the belief that your worth depends on how useful or pleasing you are to others. But when friendliness becomes a habit of self-sacrifice, it slowly erodes your dignity. You start adjusting yourself to others instead of expecting others to meet you halfway. Respect begins the moment you recognize that your energy is valuable, your time is limited, your emotional space matters. When you stop offering unlimited access, people begin to notice your presence more deeply. They listen more carefully. They think twice before crossing your boundaries. Not because you demanded it, but because you demonstrated self-respect. This does not mean you withdraw from the world. It means you become intentional. You choose when to give, where to invest, and whom to engage. You stop explaining yourself excessively. You stop trying to win everyone over. You stop filling silence just to be liked. And in that space, something powerful happens. People begin to feel your strength. A strong personality does not chase attention. It attracts it through grounded presence. When you are not constantly available, your words carry more weight. Your absence becomes noticeable. Your presence becomes meaningful. People sense that access to you is earned, not automatic. Think about this truth: people respect those who respect themselves. When you protect your time, people learn to value it. When you honor your boundaries, people learn not to cross them. When you stop over-giving, people learn that your kindness is intentional, not desperate. Over-friendliness often blurs boundaries. It invites people to take liberties they would never take with someone who stands firmly in their worth. It encourages casual disrespect disguised as comfort. Jokes that cross the line, requests that drain you, expectations that ignore your limits. And when you finally feel exhausted or unappreciated, you realize it others who crossed the line. It was you who never drew it. Building respect requires a shift in mindset. You must move from "I hope they like me" to "I trust my value." From "I don't want to disappoint anyone" to "I won't disappoint myself." From "I must always be available" to "I choose when to give my energy." When you stop being too friendly out of fear and start being intentional out of self-respect, your entire presence changes. You don't lose people who truly value you. You lose people who are only there because you are convenient. And that loss is not a failure. It is freedom. Respect is not built by being everywhere for everyone. It is built by knowing when to show up, when to step back, and when to protect your worth. Value yourself first, and the world will follow your lead. One of the greatest misunderstandings about being kind, friendly, and available is the belief that these qualities automatically earn respect. In reality, respect is not built on constant accessibility. It is built on boundaries. Boundaries are what create value. They define where you end and where others begin. Without boundaries, your kindness, convenience, your friendliness becomes predictability, and your presence becomes something people expect rather than appreciate. When you are always available, always agreeable, and always accommodating, people stop seeing you as a choice and start seeing it as a guarantee. And what is guaranteed is rarely valued. Boundaries remind people that access to you is not automatic. It is earned through mutual respect, consideration, and effort. Boundaries are not walls to isolate you from the world. They are filters. They decide who gets close, who stays at a distance, and who no longer belongs in your space. A strong personality understands this deeply. It knows that not everyone deserves unlimited access to your time, energy, emotions, and attention. When you fail to set boundaries, you don't become more loved. You become more used. Many people struggle with boundaries because they confuse them with rejection. They fear that saying no will make them seem rude, selfish, or unkind. So they say yes when they mean no. They stay silent when they should speak up. They overextend themselves to avoid disappointing others. Over time, this behavior sends a dangerous message. My limits don't matter. Once that message is received, respect begins to fade. Boundaries communicate self-worth without needing words. When you protect your time, people learn that your time is valuable. When you protect your energy, people learn that your presence is not cheap. When you protect your standards, people learn that you cannot be treated casually. Boundaries shape how others experience you. A person with no boundaries is easy to read, easy to predict, and easy to overlook. A person with boundaries creates curiosity, respect, and intention. People think before approaching you. They consider how they speak to you. They recognize that your availability is a privilege, not a right. Boundaries also protect you from resentment. When you give too much, too often, without limits, resentment quietly builds inside you. You may smile on the outside while feeling drained, overlooked, or unappreciated on the inside. Eventually, that resentment leaks out through frustration, withdrawal, or emotional exhaustion. Boundaries prevent this. They allow you to give from a place of strength, not depletion. Another powerful truth is this: people who respect you will respect your boundaries. People who don't will challenge them, ignore them, or try to make you feel guilty for having them. That resistance is not a sign that your boundary is wrong. It is proof that the boundary is necessary. Boundaries also help you respect yourself. Every time you honor your limits, you reinforce self-trust. You prove to yourself that your needs matter. That internal respect becomes visible externally. People sense it. They respond to it. They adjust their behavior accordingly. Being less available does not make you cold. It makes you intentional. Being selective does not make you arrogant. It makes you self-aware. Being firm does not make you unkind. It makes you clear. A strong personality understands that value is created through limits. The less you give away freely, the more people appreciate what you offer. Boundaries turn friendliness into strength and kindness into power. When you stop being available to everyone, you become meaningful to the right ones. One of the most uncomfortable truths about human behavior is this: people rarely respect what is always available. When you are constantly accessible, endlessly agreeable, and emotionally on call for everyone, your value begins to fade in the eyes of others. Not because you lack worth, but because you fail to protect it. Availability, when unlimited, quietly communicates that your time, energy, and presence come without cost. Think about how value works in every area of life. Things that are rare are treated with care. Things that are limited are handled with intention. But things that are always there, always giving, always waiting, are often taken for granted. Human psychology responds to scarcity with respect and to excess with neglect. This principle does not make people bad. It makes them human. When you are too friendly, too eager, and too accessible, you remove the natural boundaries that create respect. You reply instantly to every message. You drop your priorities to meet others' needs. You say yes even when you are exhausted. You make yourself emotionally available even to those who have not earned access to your inner world. Over time, people stop appreciating your presence because they never fear losing it. This is where many kind-hearted people get trapped. They believe being constantly available makes them lovable. They think loyalty is proven by sacrifice. They assume that giving more will earn more respect. But the opposite often happens. The more you give without limits, the less others value what you give. Not because your kindness is wrong, but because it is unprotected. Strong personalities understand something vital. Access must be earned, not offered freely. Your time is not infinite. Your emotional energy is not renewable without rest. Your attention is not cheap. When you treat these things as precious, others begin to treat them the same way. When you protect your availability, people learn to approach you with more intention, more respect, and more care. Being less available does not mean being cold, rude, or arrogant. It means being selective. It means choosing where your energy goes. It means responding, not reacting. It means understanding that you do not owe everyone your presence just because they ask for it. And it means recognizing that sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is silence. When you stop being overly available, something interesting happens. People begin to notice you more. They listen more carefully when you speak. They value your time because they know it is limited. They respect your boundaries because they see you enforcing them. Your presence becomes meaningful instead of predictable. Availability should align with respect. If someone consistently dismisses you, ignores your needs, or only reaches out, unlimited availability becomes self-disrespect. Strong individuals understand that being accessible to everyone makes you invisible to yourself. You lose connection with your own needs, your own goals, and your own peace. Reducing availability also strengthens your internal world. You begin focusing on growth instead of approval. You invest time in your skills, your health, your purpose, and your vision. You stop centering your life around being needed and start centering it around becoming fulfilled. And fulfillment, not friendliness, is what creates magnetism. People respect those who are grounded, not those who are constantly chasing connection. They admire individuals who are busy building, growing, and evolving. When your life is full, your availability naturally becomes limited, and that limitation elevates your presence. Remember this: being available is not the same as being valuable. Value comes from self-respect, boundaries, and intentional living. When you stop offering yourself too easily, you teach others to approach you with respect. And when you respect yourself enough to limit access, the world responds differently. Availability lowers perceived value only when it lacks boundaries. Protect your time. Guard your energy. Choose where you show up. Because the moment you stop being easily available, you stop being easily overlooked. One of the quiet truths of human behavior is this: what is always available is rarely appreciated. When you give unlimited access to your time, your energy, your attention, and your emotions, people stop treating those things as valuable. Not because they are unkind, but because human nature responds to contrast. Scarcity creates value. Overexposure creates indifference. Many people confuse kindness with constant availability. They believe being present at all times will earn love, loyalty, and respect. But the opposite often happens. When you are always there, always responding, always adjusting, always giving, your presence comes expected instead of appreciated. Slowly, subtly, respect fades. Not because you lack worth, but because you fail to protect it. A strong personality understands this truth. Access must be earned, not assumed. Your time is not unlimited. Your emotional energy is not endless. Your attention is not free. When you treat these things as precious, others learn to do the same. When you give them away without limits, others unconsciously take them for granted. Scarcity is not about manipulation. It is about self-respect. It is the decision to honor your own capacity. It is knowing when to step back, when to pause, when to say, I'm not available right now, without guilt or apology. It is understanding that your absence can sometimes speak louder than your presence. Overexposure often comes from fear. Fear of being forgotten, fear of being replaced, fear of being disliked, fear of losing connection. So people overgive, they overexplain, they overstay, they overcommit. They show up even when they are exhausted, unappreciated, or uncomfortable. And in doing so, they drain themselves while teaching others that their limits do not exist. But here is the truth that changes everything. People value what they have to earn. When your presence is intentional instead of constant, it carries weight. When your words are measured instead of excessive, they carry meaning. When your availability has boundaries, it carries respect. Scarcity allows people to feel your absence, and absence creates reflection. It reminds others that you are not guaranteed, that you choose to be present, that your presence is a gift, not an obligation. This shift alone transforms how people treat you. A strong personality does not chase attention. It attracts it through balance. It knows when to engage and when to retreat. It understands that stepping back is not weakness. It is wisdom. Silence, when used intentionally, can command more respect than constant explanation ever could. This does not mean becoming cold, distant, or unkind. It means becoming selective. It means choosing quality over quantity. It means investing your energy where it is valued, returned, and respected. It means no longer pouring yourself into spaces that only consume you. When you reduce overexposure, something powerful happens. You regain control of your time. You regain emotional clarity. You regain confidence, and people begin to treat you differently. They become more attentive, more considerate, more respectful, because now your presence means something. Scarcity teaches others how to approach you. It filters relationships, it removes entitlement, it restores balance, and most importantly, it protects your inner peace. You are not meant to be endlessly accessible. You are meant to be intentional. You are not meant to be everywhere for everyone. You are meant to be fully present where it matters. Scarcity creates value. When you honor your own worth by limiting access, the world learns to respect it. One of the most powerful shifts you can make in your life is learning to be selective with your energy. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your time, attention, kindness, and emotional availability. When you give too much of yourself to everyone, you unintentionally teach the world that your presence is cheap, replaceable, and always available. And sadly, what is always available is rarely respected. Being selective does not mean becoming cold, rude, or heartless. It means becoming intentional. It means understanding that your energy is finite, valuable, and sacred. Every interaction costs something: time, focus, emotion, effort. When you give these things without discernment, you slowly drain yourself, and people learn to take without appreciation. Respect grows when people feel that access to you is earned, not guaranteed. When you stop being overly friendly, overly open, and overly available, something interesting happens. People begin to pause. They begin to wonder. They begin to value your presence more deeply. Scarcity creates awareness. Boundaries create curiosity. Selectiveness creates respect. Think about it. People rarely protect what they can always access, but they protect what they might lose. A strong personality understands this truth. It understands that not every conversation deserves your emotional investment. Not every request deserves your time. Not every person deserves your warmth. When you become selective, you are not punishing others. You are protecting yourself. Many people confuse kindness with overexposure. They believe being nice means explaining everything, responding immediately, always helping, always showing up. But true kindness has structure. It has limits. It knows when to give and when to step back. Without limits, kindness becomes self-destruction. When you become selective, you send a powerful message. My energy matters. My time matters. My presence matters. And people respond accordingly. Selectiveness also strengthens your self-respect. Each time you choose where your energy goes, you reinforce your worth. You stop chasing validation. Stop over-proving yourself. You stop bending just to be liked. Instead, you stand grounded, calm, and intentional. That calmness alone commands respect. This is why strong personalities are often misunderstood. They are not loud. They are not constantly engaging. They are not trying to impress. They speak when it matters. Show up when it aligns. They give when it is meaningful. And because of that, their presence carries weight. When you are selective, you also allow space for deeper, healthier connections. The right people rise to meet your standards. The wrong people fade away. And that is not loss. That is alignment. Not everyone will like this version of you. Some people will feel uncomfortable. Some will accuse you of changing. Some will say you are distant or arrogant, but what they are really reacting to is the loss of easy access to you, and that reaction tells you everything you need to know. Remember this: people who genuinely respect you will respect your boundaries. People who only benefited from your availability will resist them. Becoming selective is an act of self-leadership. It means you decide how your life is experienced. It means you stop allowing others to consume you without contribution. It means you shift from being emotionally accessible to everyone to being meaningfully present for the right ones. And in that shift, respect is born. Because when you value yourself enough to protect your energy, the world learns to value you too. Stop being available to everyone. Start being intentional with yourself. That is where true respect begins. At some point in life, you must ask yourself a hard but freeing question. Am I being kind, or am I being available at the cost of my self-respect? Because kindness is a gift, but over-availability is a sacrifice. And too often, it is a sacrifice no one asked you to make. When you are always accessible, always agreeable, always saying yes, people stop seeing your value and start seeing your convenience. Not because they are bad people, but because human nature respects what has limits, what has standards, what has weight. Respect grows where boundaries live. You were never meant to dilute yourself to be accepted. You were never meant to exhaust your energy to feel included. You were never meant to trade your dignity for approval. True strength is quiet. True confidence does not beg. True presence does not chase. When you stop being overly friendly, you don't become cold. You become clear. You become intentional. You become selective. And in that selectiveness, your personality gains depth, authority, and respect. Let people earn your time. Let conversations have meaning. Let your kindness be intentional, not automatic. The moment you value yourself more, the world adjusts. People listen differently. They treat you differently. They approach you with care instead of entitlement. And the ones who disappear, let them. They were never attached to you, only to your availability. So choose yourself. Choose balance. Choose self-respect over being liked, because the strongest version of you is not the one who gives endlessly. It is the one who gives wisely. And when you do that, respect will no longer be something you seek. It will be something you naturally command.